All right, game number 1 in a brand new best of 3. This is, of course, a qualifying match, so the winner will go into the main event for the TING Season 2 Open, or TING Open Season 2. There's still $5,000 in prizes, but one of the things to note really quick is we did redistribute and talk to TING about making it less top-heavy. So if you finish top 8, you now get $250 instead of $100, more than double for just making it that far alone. So hopefully we'll see a pretty good season. And this is, of course, just the start. This is the very first qualifier. We can see the first player qualified in. And to kick things off here in the bottom right, he might be a barcode, but thankfully we know him from the many times he's played on the European server, the North American server. Ladies and gentlemen, he's all over the place. It's Sleep.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is super duper.
Now, Super actually has won a tournament we've hosted in the past. He's also, I think, I don't remember if he won, but he was at least in the finals of the Cybert Race Wars, I believe, too.
Yes, he was. He actually won that, didn't he?
I wasn't sure if he had won that back-to-back with our event or not. It was foggy memory there, but really cool to see him performing well. I was really sad when we didn't get to see presence from him at all in the first TING Open, but I gotta say, in my mind, Sleep has not been looking amazing. Now, granted, that's because he's played a lot in the European server at terrible hours. Maybe it's a lot better on the home server with no lag, no latency, and against somebody at a reasonable hour. But I'm just favoring Super because of his history here at BaseTradeTV, and I would definitely like to see him again for more TING.
Yeah. So I was making a tweet because yours worked so well. I didn't want to, taint it with, yeah, the link is not working. Anyways, it said Invasion Esports when I was looking for the actual tags, and I was like, no, Super's not Invasion anymore, right? It's like such an old Twitter. He's on a Freak of Freaks now.
Yeah, I've stopped trying to tag a lot of the Koreans on Twitter because they just don't use it. There's some that do, like parting and others who got really involved with their fans, but for the most part, a lot of them just don't use Twitter. They can't be bothered to do the social media aspect. They're just focused on playing the game. So, yeah, he was on Invasion, God knows, forever ago, like really forever ago.
Yeah, not so forever, like a year and a half, basically, was last time. But he went through KT Rolster, Spenu, and now he's on a Freak of Freak. So he's just been like on a roller coaster. Not as much as our other
not
player,
as much as Billowy.
Forte, or Billowy, yeah, sorry, Billowy, but still somewhat like it. But alright, what's happening in this game? We have Lings and Overlord Speed, but no drops, actually. As exciting as that would be on Ruins of Endion. Just for scouting and a little bit of defense from that. The depth.
Well, I mean, scouting's still pretty important. I really like the Oracle, by the way, see if it gets some damage done. We haven't seen too much of this because of how much it has been strictly just straight up Phoenix, so because that's the trend of the matchup, well, okay, this would be a little annoying to defend against, but because that's the trend of the matchup, Sleep may not actually have enough queens or proper defense against this. Right now we do see these Lings are causing a problem, though. He really wants to knock down this rock, so losing that Zealot, kind of a big deal, because the Adepts are pretty bad at taking the rocks down.
Well, okay, so this shouldn't be surprised to see a Banelings go down for Sleep, but it is pretty early and he's making Lings right now. So Banelings in general, obviously that's been something that's developed for the last like 2 months basically. Ugh. And it's very common to add on to deal with the charge loss especially, but a Baneling bust early on would have been very interesting. Not actually the case. He's just sending the Lings across the map now to cancel the third base, but he's still droning.
So this is something where, by the way, I'm not a big fan of the way the Banelings have turned the matchup around because it's created a lot more all-in situations for Zerg than I think we saw before. But I guess it's different type. We went from Roach Ravage all-ins to Baneling all-ins in some instances.
Yeah.
But, a lot of this will be depending on like how does Super know how to respond to it. Does he go lots of force fields through sentries? Like what's the plan? But interestingly enough, we have a Void Ray on the way. This Adept, by the way, already really low. Not going to hold that wall for very long.
No, I'm actually surprised not trying to go after that. So maybe they could have killed it in time. Maybe the Photon Overcharge would have come in time. Either way, they back off. The Oracles are doing some damage. Actually, well, they kill a Queen, and they're going to get that Spore Crawler, but the drones were pulled in time, and they didn't chase the drones either, so not so bad, but it's more that Sleep, by denying that third base, like, that's great, and he's still denying the third base, but he made these Lings, and now he doesn't have a lair. It's only halfway done, but more importantly, like, a lot of drones. He's actually at less workers than Super.
Well, the rocks are finally going to get torn down, so he'll be able to. Super. As you mentioned, he's already got the probe lead, but actually make use of it, I guess. Because a little bit scared to transfer around if you get this big gaping hole between your two bases. But working on these North rocks already, Super is really late. Like, the Voider should already be killing the Lings. This is going to be a problem for him. In fact, working on both rocks now. Ouch.
Yeah. But it's so much time that Super should be fine here. He's got photon overcharges now already on these pylons. Oh, Spire. Okay, well, I guess I shouldn't be so surprised. He's been on Lings for a very long time. He got that Bailey Nest. There wasn't any Roach Warren. So I guess if it's not going to be Roaches, it's going to be that Spire. And we'll see how much he dedicates to it, I suppose. But it's, of course, far more important to wonder is whether or not Super's going to see it. He needs to start producing Phoenixes right now to really feel confident against Spire play.
Yeah. It's not exactly the tech swap that we're used to seeing, where like, okay, you went so heavy into Roach's Ravagers, you baited out Immortals, so boom, Mutalisks, but it's still powerful. And we've seen people try and struggle to throw down like 3 Stargates behind it, be like, okay, now I got to start building those Phoenix, but it's almost always too late. So I am getting a little bit worried here for Super, who doesn't have a lot of Blink Stalkers, who doesn't have a lot of Phoenix already, who just doesn't really have means to deal with those mutas should they come in massive quantities.
Yeah. They're not going to be coming out 15 at a time, like, initially. Only actually 6, maybe. So not too difficult to try and survive long enough to get a Phoenix count up, but still not ideal to go so blind so far. Yeah, that's a little bit odd, because he's seen nothing but Lings. You think he'd be more curious.
Then you've got 2 Oracles, like, Revelation tags, please. He's actually getting the first view of the Spire just now.
Yeah, but as the mutas are being made. So he does start Phoenixes. I mean, it's a little bit of advance notice. Maybe he can fit in a second Stargate as well. He has the minerals and the gas. There it is right there.
He needs to. It's not even like should. Like, he needs to.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, even if he had Blink Stalkers, which he doesn't, he never went for Blink, they would have had +2 at the very least, but they just wouldn't do a very good job actually catching up with the mutas, so you'd have to really just be forced into a base trade, which is usually not ideal for Protosses. Phoenixes are really the only way to go to have, a semblance of a macro game, a hope of a macro game against mutas. But like I said, I wondered how much sleep would go into mutas. Would it be mass mutas, like 40 and above, or would it be transferring back into Roach Hydra, or in this case, just Hydra right now?
Well, Ling's darting around, gonna get a pylon, but really, nope, just kidding, psych.
Not even. Such a bad caster, swear to God.
Yeah. Where's those that bonus damage versus air on the cannons? Am I right that this wouldn't be a problem?
Yeah, this absolutely wouldn't be a problem.
I'll just deflect and take shots elsewhere, so no one looks at me.
Deflect.
Yeah.
Super effective.
We do have Anium Pulse Crystals coming out, so this will give that range bonus versus the mutas, but I feel like this is almost too much dedication into the anti-muta squad. Like, there wasn't that many mutas made, and it is primarily Hydras, and it is primarily a lack of scouting once again for Super that's not going to let him know that, hey, I don't need to invest this direction.
I think he knows now. Oh, maybe not. Oh, well.
I mean, Phoenixes can still work versus Hydras. You pick them up,
yes,
you get the adepts on the ground. I'm not going to pretend like this was a bad move, but there are definitely better like investments to be making in, like Immortals and double Robos to make up for the lack of Immortals and such.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like, this isn't... He might not know, because it really is unnecessary to still have two Stargates pumping Phoenixes, as well as the range upgrade if you aren't facing pure Mutalisk. The range upgrade especially is not necessarily, it's only going to be like 6 mutas. But, Phoenix and Mass are actually very effective. Oh. I mean, it can be an opener. It can help out against Hydra specifically.
That's kind of cute. The mutas ended up focusing the hallucinated Phoenix. The chances of that were very low.
Yeah. And honestly, the composition for sleep right now is kind of vulnerable. Okay, now the 23 Banelings, never mind. All right, so I was going to say the Adepts, Guardian Shields, couple of Force Fields, the Phoenix picking up the Hydras. A Hydra Ling army does not look that effective, but with Banelings on the way, they get rid of those Adepts so quickly, and the Phoenixes really can't take on all of those Hydras. This should be very scary. The Force Fields have got to come down to save his Adepts, but also just in general his army from those Banelings.
Well, I was going to say, there is a remarkable amount of sentries available for this, but they might not be enough still. That's a wide area. There's no choke to work with here. He is still going to keep Sleep back. I mean, Sleep doesn't want to take an engagement off of Creep, and that's not a bad move. Like, he should play it as safe as he can with his very expensive gas army that he's made for himself. But They already baited out a good chunk of force fields. Problem is, with so many sentries, there's a lot more behind it.
Mm-hmm. This
looking
is like
to get the force fields here in the middle of the map. This is a good fight for Super if he can take it. The Banelings are crashing into mostly Stalkers. The sentries don't even scratch.
Wow.
The Banelings are just so ineffective. Now swooping with the Phoenix, going to pick up what Hydras he can. Advances with the Stalkers. That supply for Sleep takes a huge nosedive, down to 50.
I really thought he made a mistake by letting that one force field go away. I thought the Banelings were going to crash into his sentries, but it was all part of the plan, I suppose.
Like,
he took out Banelings in a line that was very easy to take out.
They were funneling
and he had
in.
a very effective engagement.
They were like not even fun. They were like dripping in. It was like one Baneling drop per second, like easily dealt with. Link's gonna try and run around this. Actually, not a bad move. This fourth base probably gonna go down for it. But if Super decides not to respond and just keep pushing, I think that's the better option here. Like these Lings are, Warpins at home with the depths gonna take care of this no problem. He's gonna Warp Prism on the other side of the map too, so he can get Warpins to the front lines pretty quickly. And this army supply still huge. A lot of sentries, not much died. A lot of force fields still ready to go.
Oh, this is pretty dangerous. I mean, on one hand, getting the choke like this can work against Super if he goes through it into Banelings, but it can also work for him if Sleep ever over dedicates exactly like this. Actually.
Oh, I don't know what that was.
That wasn't even over dedicating. That was just a mistake, letting his units get aggroed on top of the opposing units, and that's a lot of Hydras to go down. I think Sleep is just going to lose this game. It's a maxed out Protoss army. There's only a 70 army supply, and it's been seen too. Like, this should not do a lot of damage, so I'll be force footed out. Oh, okay, the Banelings from behind was kind of a cool idea, but
it gets a couple of adepts. Really, these Banelings have not been effective, and especially with the fact that this was never really adept heavy in the first place. It was so many Stalkers. The Banelings were going to doom to fail from the get-go. So this is going to be game Super. Going to take map number 1. Not too shabby. I gotta say, like, he reacted a bit poorly initially, and I was really worried that things like that Spire were gonna just spiral out of control. It's a very bad pun, but I'm really glad he brought it together, and that looked really, really good for him once he got those force fields in play.
Oh, we get to see King Sejong.
Oh. So I actually, by the way, went and dug up my old files from like 2014, 15, whenever that was. Like, I have the King Sejong map intro for this.
Neato.
Cool. All right, let's hop into it. So King Sejong Station, we did see once not too long ago with the Cybet Race Wars, but it was literally one game amongst many, many. So, gonna be kind of cool to see what this looks like in another series.
Okay, ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, see you guys in just a moment. Or not? Why is it locking up again? I will play this intro. I legit don't know why it's frozen though. It's done this twice. XSplit, please. A problem being, if I can't do this, we can't get into game either. Okay, hang on. Intro matters. Man, the style of map intros has really changed, like, over the last couple of years. And I kind of forgot about the secret Arthas hidden in the cave up here too. Speaking of that Warcraft month for arcade block, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's an older map. We brought it back because we heard it's going back to the ladder. So in the bottom right side of King Sejong Station, we do have the blue Zerg. He's down 1. It is Sleep.
In the top left as the red Protoss, he is Super.
Okay, so King Sejong, we had mentioned as well about when we saw Terran earlier, would we see Zergs actually not veto this? Because it's just so tempting to use Liberators over here or abuse them on this backside too. Lots of scary places on this map where older maps definitely aren't balanced around the new units. But that being said, I don't think in this particular matchup we're going to have to worry about that.
No, I'm actually thinking of all the units that we see. So Adepts are not map specific. I mean, I guess you could maybe argue like an Adept Rush would prefer like faster, closer rush distance, but let's see here. Lurkers. I guess Lurkers might be a problem depending on how like this ramp, in particular the one we're watching on the probe, would play. As certainly we saw like if Swarm Host ever got close enough, because this was used back in the Swarm Host days, that you could kind of just contain players on 3 bases after breaking their 4th.
And this actually reminds me of a little bit of that lurker dynamic we learned on what was that really big map that had the Zerg icon in the middle of it? Iron Fortress.
Yes.
Where like if you have like a lurker on this side of the crevasse and it's attacking something over here, you won't actually see the spikes.
Ah, that's right. Yes, that is absolutely true. So that is a little bit tricky, but I don't know about much else. Let's see here. Maybe Overlord drops could be a real problem. But
I don't know. No more than normal, I would say. I mean, like you're still going from over here to over here. I mean, we are possibly going to see Overlord drops this game, by the way.
Yeah.
Speed started up, but no Evo chamber yet. The Adept coming across the map is going to get a decent scout. Some Ling's also going to run into the natural. So both players are going to have some nice information, and Sleep actually goes for a third base.
Well, I can't think of much else that would is new that it would be used. So I think King Sejong's probably fine for this matchup. We'll see if these guys have any better ideas.
Tempest.
The Lings.
Oh wait.
Well, yeah, right. Tempest. So the Lings do get in here, and that's actually really annoying. I guess we were talking about the new stuff, but we didn't really talk about the old stuff that made King Sejong potentially problematic. And that is like a fairly large ramp for Protosses to wall off.
Well, hang on, because you got to back up for a second. Let's not forget that like when this map was in the map pool, this was also the age of swarm hosts, and we didn't actually see a lot of not swarm hosts Zerg games on this map. So it'll be kind of cool to see something that we didn't see a lot of in Heart of the Swarm, one way or the other.
We did see a lot of swarm hosts, that's right, but it was in the map pool for such a long time that I think it was actually a good enough sample size. Okay, this is getting a little extreme. A good enough sample size of non-swarm host games, because people still tried Roach Hydra and whatnot against it, and Mutas even, but yeah, this has done way too much damage.
The fact that they even just brought the Oracle home and already burned its Pulsar Beam over here is already great for Sleep. Like, you would love to lose Lings instead of drones in every situation.
Like a handful of Lings is way too good for Sleep, but that is what I was bringing up. Like the wall off on King Sejong is a little tricky. It's obnoxious, basically. It's not tricky. It's very big.
Straight up. Yep.
And Protosses are gonna have a tough time getting that wall off as soon as possible. The third base is also like a little bit farther away, which is a problem right now. But honestly, like Protosses are better in Legacy of the Void at defending bases that are farther away. So while this is annoying, it was annoying on Ruins of Endion as well. The last game we saw. And Super still made do.
Well, Void Ray coming up next. I mean, Super is really not playing too different than what we saw last game as far as openings go. And I guess like you follow your opening into the reactions of what your opponent's doing. And I just, the Void Ray is weird. I really do like Void Rays, but in most instances we see them, they're not that effective. But I guess if you're really not looking to have much on the ground, you might as well get something in the air.
Yeah, well, they can kill overlords, so they're not like useless, and they can defend against those early roach pushes. But that's something that Sleep did not do last game, and he's not doing this game either. He's going for those melee upgrades once again, as well as a lair for probably a Spire. I mean, maybe he saw something that he messed up in that last game. Because honestly, if he didn't, Super just looked very powerful against that style. Okay, he's gonna mix things up. So he's just gonna go straight to the Hydralisk Den, which, is... Actually, Super still needs to really scout that. If he sees nothing but Lings and assumes a Spire once more, then he would make he'd be wrong, and he might die to Hydras, but... Hopefully he does get a scout.
So, while it's going on, interesting comments out of Hard Revenge in chat saying he's looking to sign up for one of the boxes, but he's only doing it so that he can get the box that's been ruined by player's signature. I guess he's one of the few people that really wants to play Risk, the StarCraft Risk game, instead of admire the fact that I got players and casters alike. Damn it. It was actually really hard. I had to track everybody down, and we weren't allowed in certain areas, so whatever, man. You got like everybody's signature on this that was at Austin. Whatever. I think we even got Flo to sign it too. I don't remember if I got Flo to sign it. But I know that backstage we got like everybody who I could. So like In Control, Apollo, Tom Biscuit, Athenius. Plus
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Alright, so this game has, I guess, accelerated to the Lurker stage pretty quickly. You know, the Hydras are out, but there's not really much for them to do. They just gotta wait for the Lurker Den. A Balioness is on the way as well, which is not surprising at all. Again, like, take out those charge lots, take out the Adepts, and then hopefully the Lurkers can deal with everything else. I don't know why Super's getting a Fleet Beacon unless he did, like, he see nothing but Lings, like I was talking about. And maybe he thinks that it's, again, a Spire. He's seen Lings, he saw a Baneley nest, he didn't see anything else. So this might be a little problematic, but he's not getting a second Stargate, so it's almost like he's aware it doesn't have to be Mutas, and is just prepping for the potential.
Well, for me, I'm like, okay,
Or
it's
he's getting a mothership.
What the front door, Zombie
Okay.
Grub? What the front door? This, I mean, okay, so there's a lot to speak of for the mothership. We'll get to that in a moment. But I was worried that Super was just like, okay, he actually only has one build, and last game it just happened to be perfect for the situation. But the mothership certainly shakes things up quite a bit. I can't say I love that choice, but I do love this attack on the other side of the
Wow.
map.
He had
He
2
completely
warp
wrecks
prisms.
this.
He does. I mean, Adepts, the Guardian Shield against nothing but Hydras. The Lings weren't ready. The Banelings weren't ready. Super might have just won without this damn mothership.
Well, I mean, there were some Baneleys, but you're right. Like, for the most part, like,
Uh-huh.
this army wasn't ready to fight, is the point. Like, the Hydras got absolutely obliterated. Adepts now in the mineral lines over here. Adepts in the mineral lines over here. There's no way Sleep can defend all these locations simultaneously, and continued warp-ins make this even harder to deal with. Baneleys
Ooh.
are going to crash in now.
Oh,
Boom!
damn.
But there's a new wave of Adepts. He's still up double the army supply. And that mothership, what's she planning to do? Like, what do you do? Is that
I have
BM?
no
Like, what is
idea.
it?
I don't know, but it's interesting. Because I was going to say, like, you know, funnily enough, Banelings would be the one thing that's fine against something they can't see. You just kind of guess where they are and make them explode. But it's not even going to come into play, so whatever. Oh, it's coming over. Come on now. Come on, baby. She's slow, man. She's faster than she was.
Yeah, that's true. Got to buff the speed on that. That's the Protoss fix to everything. Like, just increase the speed. Warp Prism,
It's
not
a
a problem.
band-aid for anything in StarCraft. This game is definitely over, but at least the Mothership's gonna get some action here.
This is interesting because this really didn't play out in a way that I thought was going to be too crazy. Like we saw some lane aggression early on, Sleep took a third base, but then he just was so bloody unprepared for this. There is an Overseer, by the way, so this Mothership actually adds nothing. Like, the
Hey,
stealth is
hey,
not...
she could kill that Overseer.
You're
the
right!
anti-air he has.
She could drop 2 time warps because she forgot how to use all of her cool abilities. Like, I hate that too. Like, when they introduced the mothership, the sickest thing wasn't cloak. It was, you got this planet cracking ability. You got this black hole ability. Nope, both gone. Now just time warps and recall. Kind of neutered hardcore. It's the world's most expensive Arbiter, Zombie Grub.
Yeah. Yo, did they even have Planet Cracker in the actual game? I thought that was just a beta thing.
I don't know if we got the big. I just remember the debut when they showed the mothership for the first time. They're like, look at this cool new unit. Boom! Independence Day style.
Oh, Sleep is sad.
Yeah, I don't think he's happy about losing to a mothership. We got probes being pulled out of Super. It's just...
Oh, wow.
This is how you BM... You go mothership probe. That's... GG. All right, congratulations, Super. He will qualify through and be the first player into the Season 2 of the TING Open. But that's not all, folks. We still got one more series to go with Stylish, a.k.a. Alive, versus Forte, a.k.a. Salvation. So a TVT to finish things off with. I guess we'll get the ads out of the way as quick as we can. We'll be back soon with the final best of 3. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.